I drinking today? It's an oolong. Oolong. Why drink tea? Because it has L-theanine. It's very good for you. It inhibits cortisol and promotes serotonin and dopamine. Talking about dopamine, I don't know if you know my guest today, Angel Ribo, but that dude has got lots of dopamine. If I had to guess the reasons why he is so happy, it would have something to do with his success, but also the fact that he does affirmations. I want to say perhaps even every day. This particular gentleman is full of energy. We're very excited to have him on the show. He works with CEOs from around the world, and he helps them internationalize. One syllable too many for my mouth this morning. Pretty incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. The incredible, the one, the only, the unique Angel Ribo.
Well, thank you very much. I'm surprised by many things. I actually have so many questions, but unfortunately I'm the guest, so I'll have to keep my questions for when we finish the show today. Thank you very much for being so kind and in your presentation, in your introduction, and obviously everybody listening to us. Thank you for being here for both of us.
Yeah, you are like a TNT of energy. You're like, are you always like this, or is this just like show energy?
I am. No, I am. I am on that spot most of the time, and people that know me. Yeah. Sometimes they ask me if the other day, actually, there's a group from Costa Rica. I meet with them once a week. And they ask me, did you eat a radio or something today that you're nonstop? So yeah, it's actually, I'm pretty quiet today, to be honest. So
this is subdued.
I could go louder. I could go exactly. I could go louder.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a guess, and there's a good chance I'm wrong, but I'm gonna take a wild stab in the dark anyway. A lot of people that have really high energy, people's first reaction is, "Oh, you must drink coffee all the time." They always blame it on caffeine, and I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna guess you're not a big coffee guy.
True. I have been throughout my life. I have been going like with less and less and less and less coffee. When I was in corporate America, it used to be like, you would have a conversation with someone over coffee. Right now, I try to actually go less and less with coffee. And there's another reason why I also do this is because I fast. I do intermittent fasting. So when I try to do like 3 days, 2 days, 3 days of fasting, which sometimes I do, actually I feel myself that coffee is counterproductive. I feel myself like the blood pressure and these kind of things, which I don't like. I mean, but when I go pure with water and tea, no matter what tea, I don't feel the same way. So, maybe there's also some, toxins and artificial stuff into the coffee, but yeah, I'm not upbeat because of the coffee, answering your question, Kelly.
Yes. So here's the thing about coffee. I think it's so culturally ubiquitous, and people are so of the mind that it's just it's totally normal. But man, it is a drug, a drug drug. You don't drink coffee for a long time, and then you drink like an espresso or something, you are just out of your mind, or at least I am. And so just shout out to entrepreneurs. Look at Angel's energy. You can feel it. It's palpable, and it is not derived from coffee. So this idea that you need, usually it's the opposite. High energy people, I tend to understand this. All right, so we're gonna dive right in. We're gonna go all the way back to El Nacimiento. I want to say Barcelona was in your incarnation, one could say. So where were you born? Let's go all the way back.
Well, to be honest, I've never asked mom and dad. They're still alive. They're 80 years old. I still have never asked in my life where I was incarnated, or the plans to start being incarnated in the form of a couple of cells that got together.
That's right. Point. Yeah, and we don't need to know.
So, but that's a great question. Actually, I should ask that question to my dad. Probably he might remember. But anyway, so I was born near Barcelona. It's the city called Lleida. It's 1 hour away from Barcelona. And the funny thing is that when I read the title of your podcast, like Marketing as a Foreign Language, I said to myself, oh my God, it's like, I have to be there. I have to be with Kellen. Because for some reason, although nor my mom, nor my dad, any of them, of the two, speak any foreign language, when I was in 3rd grade or 4th grade, actually, they put me onto French classes in the school. And also, at the same time, they put me on a private school after hours of English. So after that, I was growing up learning English and French besides Spanish and Catalan, that we speak Catalan language in Barcelona area in Catalonia. So it's funny how this definitely defined my life moving forward. And also, I would say we were five siblings, four are still alive, and we all had the same chances, the same opportunities. But my little sister and myself, we are the only ones that have taken like an international path approach to our lives. And I, as you probably have read on my bio as well, I've worked with more than 1,500 CEOs in 33 different countries as far as business goes. So I think that unless I had started my life like this, thanks to mom and dad, right, I would have never ended up doing what I was doing. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned.
Right. This, of course, is the nature of the way that the universe conspires in our favor and the necessity to be flexible and to go with the flow, so to speak. So we go all the way back. You weren't raised by multilingual parents, but they had the idea of having you, maybe it's something they wanted, who knows, for themselves. And they were unable to do that and they wanted to give it to their kids. Were your parents successful financially?
Yeah. Yeah, they were. I mean, when I was a kid, my father was an entrepreneur, so he had his own business, and also he was the CEO of a group of companies in the food industry. So yes, I mean, I was raised really pretty comfortably, and actually, when I started high school, my father was able to pay both my older sister, and myself a 1 month, language English language, course in the UK. So we spent actually a summer in the UK learning English, and that was really the inflection point of me speaking English, like having to translate everything when you speak a foreign language, that you have to translate everything, to go to a place where you don't have to translate anymore. Automatically, you speak. It was thanks to that, first year of high school summer going to the UK, to Scarborough, North Yorkshire, in the east coast of England. So yeah, that was a great memory actually.
Yeah, the correlation between how we are raised, who we see growing up. This is why I always talk about there will never be a deficit of teachers globally as long as the education system continues to put kids in schools where their main role model is a teacher. We don't send kids to the dentist office. We don't send them to the engineer, to the architect. No, we send them to the place where the teacher is the one calling the shots. So not at all surprising to me that having your father as an entrepreneur led you to this sort of career. But let's go back to very early age. Were you a social kid? Were you shy? Did you get along with kids?
I was shy. I would get along well with the kids, but I was shy. I mean, I remember, let me tell you an example. I mean, I know that you want to go back to early on, but the most, how to say this, scary moment in my life was when everybody at the last year of junior high school, we were organized to make money for the summer trip, that we would all go together somewhere in the school. We actually organized, like we would go to a nightclub, and both the boys and so us, right? I was going to all boys only school. So with the top school in the area, the top female school in the area, girls school, we would organize every single Friday a night in the nightclub, right? So we would invite the rest of the youth in the area to that party every single Friday, 6 p.m. I was terrified. I was the one standing outside the dancing floor. I have no idea how am I going to ever dance with any girl of the other school that we are supposed to organize this together with, ever. And it got worse, actually. We got so, I mean, when my friends were so good that we eventually actually, out of that, we spinned off. So it was a group of 4 girls and 4 boys. I was one of the 4 boys that, we kept on going out together for a while. And I was so in love with that blonde girl, beautiful girl. I still remember her name. Maybe she doesn't even know that I was was in love with her. But I was so shy. I never told her. And we were going out together literally for 2 or 3 years. I never told her, and I never danced with her. That's how shy I was. Sometimes I explain this story to people and they don't believe me. They don't believe that the same angel Ribo that you're seeing right now is the same one that couldn't even look at the face of a nice girl to ask her to, for a dance when I was in junior high school. Anyway, that's one of the stories.
Well, junior high is known to be a very challenging time for young men to find courage. And I find it interesting. Obviously, there's a past, obviously, there's a future, but all of those exist in the present. And our reflections on the past live with us today. And as you walk into some pretty intense rooms, I can only imagine. CEOs looking at you thinking, yeah, we wrote you a check. We paid you. We're expecting, we have high expectations for what you're going to do. And for you to walk into those situations, maybe still nervous, to some degree. But those two moments, they live now, right? The overcoming of those fears is just a story as old as time. So do you find yourself now feeling similarly to how you did when you saw this unbelievably beautiful blonde girl that you wanted to date?
Thank you. Well, thank God, no. The answer is no, because when you step into the unknown without knowing what the unknown is and without knowing what the unknowing expects from you, that's extremely difficult. It's like, I don't know why my friends were not like this. I just know that I was in that hole. I would consider myself being in that hole. It's not that I was like, I didn't have a high self-esteem. It's just that in that particular role in my life, I was like that. But obviously, translating this to the situation that you just described, going into a room with CEOs or C-level executives, the reality is that the more you do it, the more used you get to the nervousness of the moment. And also, I know, and that's probably that's why I am so upbeat. Is that I know that I am at my best when I am fully present and fully myself. When I can be myself with no excuses, with no explanations, no questions asked, when I'm just myself, it's where I can do really anything. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. It's just that I'm really going into that place inside of me in which I have all my answers, all the answers that I can provide, those CEOs or those C-level executives with which I'm having those conversations. And it's also, those conversations are not about how much I know. Those conversations are about how much I can get out of them so that they might change some business strategy or they might consider some business strategy. So it's more of me being listening and being proactively listening and proposing and asking questions than anything else. So if you realize that actually the answers they're looking for, they already have them, but they haven't seen them, then you realize that why being nervous? Yeah, I've been paid, and what's the worst thing that can happen? Let's ask ourselves that question. What's the worst thing that can happen when I go into a room with C-level executives and they have already hired me to perform a specific job? What's the worst thing? Like the worst thing is that they tell me all together at the same time, they tell me, Angel, you suck. You are a fake, right? You are a fake. You are an imposter. Right? That's the worst thing that can happen. If that ever happens, let's say they don't care about the impact or the consequences of what they say, the words, the tone, the whatever. So what? So what? Still, so what? They already hired me. They already did their own due diligence and everything. So again, I know that it can be it can be challenging, but at the same time, I already know what I have inside of me, and I am at my best when I do my best to serve them. And again, it's not that obviously we are born with talents, but every single talent gets modified, increased by practicing things. I mean, just today, Kellen and I just met a few minutes ago, and it happens that we both use the same streaming platform, and he knows certain things about the streaming platform, and I know other things just because I've used it a lot. And suddenly we were helping each other to increase the outreach of this conversation today for the good of both of us. So again, that's why sometimes people ask me, and I'm going to finish with this, the answer to your question. It's very important that you attract the people that you want. Speaking about marketing, who are you attracting to your world? So if you are attracting the right people who are compassionate, people who are looking for a higher purpose in their lives besides the material stuff that they're dealing with every day, I think that really, the risk of someone calling you or a group of executives calling you, you suck, you blah, 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 you're a fake, is really reduced because, you are really choosing already beforehand who you're dealing with. So you know exactly what to expect. From a personal relationship, the rest is just a matter of being fully present and providing the best of you to them all the time.
Yes. Yes. A number of thoughts listening to you explain what it is you do. But to get back to this idea that you mentioned of, so what? So what? Give me a story from early on where you had a similar sort of experience where the answer was, you know what? So what? Right? Did you play sports? Was there some sort of relationship, high school, younger age, where you developed that skill of kind of not caring as much as you thought you should have?
No, that I when I was a kid, I was very strong on myself, very strong, very hard. Excuse me, hard is the right word. And I have to say, I have loosened up a little bit later in my life, honestly. So, had you spoken with me 10 years ago, I was so hard on myself, and I regret to say, of the three kids I have today, one of them is extremely hard on himself, and probably I have to blame myself. I have to blame myself on why he's so hard on himself. So I wasn't able to be so self-conscious, so as to identify what was going on around me and say, so what? Okay, so I wasn't able to do that. Very honestly, very humbly, I have to tell you, it's by becoming more humble, becoming more obviously self-conscious, becoming more compassionate about the others and about myself, that I have learned to say, so what? It's like, when we start, both you and I, we're public figures. So when we start talking to people and we start being exposed and thousands of people listen to us or watch us every single day, there's people that say things that, that you don't like. And that's okay. I always think it's a matter of bringing your brain, right, or even your being, to a place where there's no emotions, right? You just let that negative comment go through you. I remember, so the question I ask myself every single time someone says something bad about me online, I will say the same thing: is this person going to pay my mortgage this month? Is he going to pay my bills? Yes or no? No. Okay, so if the answer is no, who cares? I remember, let me tell you a tough story. So there was a moment in 2016 where I said, okay, for some reason, I have almost no presence online, but I have to go online and explain to the world why I moved from corporate America to becoming an entrepreneur. Out of the blue, I put myself in front of the camera, I clicked on live on Facebook, and I recorded a video just explaining why I had that. Again, I didn't tag anybody. There was not even any sort of copyright in there. I went live and explained my story. When I clicked stop live streaming on Facebook, I started crying like a baby. Because the pressure of really not knowing why you're doing something, but you have to do it. Okay, so I'll leave it there. I did my first ever campaign through one of those, marketing tools that you're able to send, thousands of emails. I sent to all the thousands of emails I had. I sent an email with a link to the post, and also explaining like what the post was about. One of the first answers I will never forget. It's kept somewhere on my Evernote or something. The guy said, That's the most stupid video I've ever seen. That's a true story. That's the most, and I think I will never see a most stupid video ever again. Okay? Imagine, it's the first time I go raw online and someone answers to my email saying this. It's just crazy. But I learned the lesson. Obviously, I felt it as if it was like someone backstabbing me, honestly, because right now, I'm thankful to you that you're giving me some exposure today, and moving forward, if I can collaborate with you, I will be more than happy to do it. But at that point in time, oh my God, it was tough. But I said to myself, okay, so when these people, very famous people, these guys that have a 100,000 email list, every time they hit on going live, they get like thousands of people or hundreds of people showing up. When someone criticizes you, you are on the right path. You are on the right path. So I thought to myself, well, it's my first ever live video on Facebook or any other platform. Someone is already criticizing me. Thank God for sending me this message. I am on the right path.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, yeah. And fast forward, right now I probably have, 600, 700 videos out there of myself or interviewing someone and I love it. It's just a matter of being out there and helping people. That's it.
I would do this even if it had nothing to do with my company.
I agree.
It's just fun.
It is very fun.
Interviewing people and being interviewed. I got I don't want to say I got bored with being the interviewee, but I found myself just honing the same message over and over again. And yeah, there would be some new stuff kind of here and there, but I'm really happy to be doing this. I love listening and hearing. And what you just mentioned reminded me of something that's happening in my life, which is I'm trying to appreciate the distance between the thoughts that my mind is placing in front of me and who I am, in the same way that the comment that someone leaves you on the YouTube is just literally a different person. So I'll have thoughts and they'll be negative. If they're positive, I'm just happy and that everything's great. But I have a lot of negative thoughts. Most of us do. And it pops in my head and I'm getting better at looking at it going, oh, hi. In the same way that I would look at a negative comment on a YouTube channel and just noticing it and going, okay, like, all right, or even taking a step further and being like, I'm on the right path. Like my mind is just throwing all this stuff at me and I'm simply just observing it as opposed to reacting to it. And so, yeah, I'm reminded again of you being in front of these high-powered CEOs in what many would describe as a terrifying situation. That would be terrifying, Angel, for a lot of people to walk into a room and for you to get to the point where you're like, what are they going to do? Tell me I'm an idiot? Tell me I suck. Let's get to Esther's questions here. So she says, Angel, your starting point is answering to a higher authority.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wasn't aware that there was a higher authority ever in my life. I have had like two very, very specific defining moments in my life. One is the moment in which I actually decided to move my entire life from Europe to the Americas. And the other one was the one that made me leave corporate America. Okay, that's the short answer, Esther. The first one was actually due to reading a book called The Celestine Prophecy. The Celestine Prophecy. Okay, it's a novel, and it's by James Redfield, and it basically talks about energy. It's like how to see the world. It's a fiction novel about a series of scrolls that are being found, revelations about humanity that are being found in the Peruvian side of the Amazonia. And as I was reading it, I said, "Oh my God! Of course." When you're reading something and you say, "Of course, I already knew that," but I wasn't able to express it. I didn't know that I already was in agreement with this as I'm reading the book. And it was then when I started, Esther said that she's read the book. So it was then really the first time ever when I finished reading that book. I was in Varadero in the north of Cuba in a holiday resort in 2001. It was the month of February. I remember the moment because when I closed the book, the sun was setting. I was at the top floor of a villa. I was overlooking the sea, and I had for the first time ever this rush of energy, these goosebumps, like wow. And I just said, like completely logically, I rationally, I said, I have to move from Europe, where I was living at that point. It was in Cuba just for vacationing, into the Americas. I have to go to Latin America for some reason, right? So that was the first time that I thought, okay, so maybe there's a higher authority. There's something. There's a reason why I've read this book. There's a reason why I just finished the book and I'm feeling like this physically, I'm feeling this. And I don't know what I have to do, but why not moving from one continent to another? I was single. Why not? Why not? So to your question, obviously now I think there's some sort of, I don't know if authority is the right word, I don't know, but there's something out there that makes an order, that defines some sort of order to the completely random, in theory, apparently things that happen in the world, but it makes sense. So things that
I'd love to jump in here. So if you watch a computer play against Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion Magnus Carlsen, the computer will lay waste to him every time. And that to me is an example of a higher authority, of an intelligence that, look, you can dedicate your entire life. We're not saying you're stupid. We're saying you're the best in the world as a human. And this computer will lay waste to you. So we are already in a reality where there is some sort of higher intelligence, and we built it.
Yeah.
And so who's to say that we're not in a hologram of some other higher intelligence, and we have a complete inability to understand its intelligence in the same way that you would go, why would the computer make that particular chess move? It seems, but we know it's the best one. We know it's better than anything we can do. I feel like there is no coincidence. It's not a coincidence that you and I are talking. It's not a coincidence that you mentioned the Celestine prophecy. It's not a coincidence that Esther is going to reread it. None of these things are random, but they just seem random from our perspective, unless we can take a step back and see the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And I like probably the two words that I like the most about what you just said, Kellen, is who knows? Who knows? Something that I think I'm really, humbly speaking, I'm doing a good job with my kids is that they don't take anything by its face value. Sometimes I'm being asked, if you had to suggest something to humanity, what would you suggest? Or just to people who are starting, or in general, to make this world a better place? I say critical thinking. Critical thinking. Because, with everything that has been happening for the last 12 months, it doesn't matter in which country in the world you live. And again, I'm not talking about politics, nor religion, nor health, nothing. I think that developing a critical thinking, I think it's extremely important. Just look for the answers wherever you think you have to look for those answers of anything happening around you. I agree with you. There's this intelligence that brings coherence to everything that we are doing. Otherwise, we would probably, surfing the space, the outer space, the stratosphere or whatever. There's definitely an order here. And we are small enough, most of us, small enough not to know exactly what's going on. But there is definitely something. And there is something happening here. That's why one of the, I do interviews for a let's say an alternative thinking. It's a network. They're called Expansion Network. And they basically, their goal is accelerate the consciousness of humanity. And I was interviewing a guy who speaks about the Matrix all the time, all the time. So to your point, when you were describing the hologram, right? Yeah, who knows? Who knows where we are? Who knows who we are in reality? Who knows if we are just a dot of dust in someone else's universe, right? And there's some sort of order that we're not able to see what this order is, but it has some sort of criteria. That's why I became, after reading the Celestine prophecy, I became really curious about the universal laws. Universal laws. Those things that probably nobody has taught us, right? Going back to your what happens in the schools in the world, the formal education in the world, right? So nobody has taught us about what the universal laws are. Let's go. Let's try to figure out what are those universal laws that might be, making all this make sense. If that makes sense, Kellen.
Yeah, to me, it's almost as if the narrative of every single person's life is so profound and engaging that it is the best novel ever written, and that's everyone's life. They are all so they're cartridges, they're like Super Nintendo cartridges, and I'm gonna play Kellen this round, and and have this experience. And when you play a character like Mario, say in Super Mario, and you take damage and you get small, you have a reaction. I mean, Mario is just whatever, he's pixels on a screen. But our attachment to Mario makes us go, oh, right? And so I think it's the same way. And I think a lot of the great spiritual leaders of our time are trying to just yell it from the rooftops. They're going, you are not your character, dude. You're not your character. Like, you are in the sense that, yeah, you control them and you live the life and, whatever, but that's not you. And so people may be wondering at this point in the program, aren't you a show about marketing? This happens all the time.
Well, we are going to the market, that's for sure. We are going to some sort of market, and we are obviously thankful enough for everybody watching us. But of course, I mean, everything is related to marketing. I mean, why not? I mean, we're talking about really having a relationship with the world and having a relationship with the rest of the people around us. So this is the most pure form of marketing or approach to marketing that you can have.
Yeah, if you wake up and you're suffering from an existential crisis and you haven't really, and you're really struggling to find the energy to, let's say, not drink the coffee or not smoke the weed or not drink those 2 beers at night or not eat as much meat or whatever it is that you're fighting against. Many of those things have a love component and an understanding of the universe component. And if you want to be Instagram famous, just watch these people who have a huge surge of energy. They become very famous. And then they spiral out of control. Their life goes sideways. It's just a tale as old as time. So how centered you are, how healthy you are is, I would argue, the prime component to whether or not you're going to advertise effectively.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is why we go spiritual. Pretty much every time. So funny. But no, we're going long just because I'm having so much fun. But I do want to just take a moment here to let Angel be a capitalist. And because here's the thing about spirituality. Everyone thinks that the monk shouldn't have the cell phone. Right, that the Shaolin Kung Fu guy shouldn't be shopping at the market. He should be growing organic vegetables in his garden. And this is silliness, obviously, because we live in the world that we live in, which is to say, the world's capitalist. Okay, so in Hinduism, they would refer to it as your dharma. It's your job, right? You still need a job. You still got to eat, right? And so to that point, why don't we hand it over to Angel? Angel, why should folks hire you?
Thank you. Well, they should. Besides what they have already listened to today, and everything that all the nice questions or not so nice questions that you have asked me today, I think that the main reason why they should hire me is basically because I think that I can help them with their businesses and with their lives. And I've been doing that, in more than 33 different countries. I've been helping, both corporate CEOs and established entrepreneurs to bridge the gap globally for expansion and exposure as a way to accelerate the growth of their businesses. That's the let's say that's a capitalistic answer to your question. But I consider myself really an unstoppable divine force that is here to really bring connection to the unconnected by enlightening them and also enlightening them in order to empower their awareness. That's who I really think I am. I'm someone here to just make sure that I bring everybody else's greatness to the world. I'm just a conduit. Honestly, I just consider myself a conduit who I'm able to connect with people, and both in the personal world and in the business world to get things done. And again, connecting. And it's funny how the last 12 months, I think that connection has never been more needed than necessary in this world.
I couldn't agree more. And yes, to everything you just said. I'm for it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for swinging on by. Special shout out, of course, to Esther for the million questions. We appreciate it. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when the show is live on YouTube, Facebook, my personal LinkedIn, Periscope, which is Twitter. And then obviously after the fact, iTunes, Spotify, and 10 other podcast platforms. Esther says, I love you, Angel. Come back. I would agree with her on that one. Celestine Prophecy. You should probably read it. I should probably read it. So thank you, Angel. We appreciate it. And we'll have you back on the show, hopefully.
Anytime. I'll be here for you. By the way, if you want to reach out to me, we want to be more capitalistic ever or even, which is just send me an email. It's very easy. Angel@angelribo, R-I-B as in boy, angel@angelribo.com. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Kellen, I'm thrilled about Esther and how many questions and interactions she's had with us. Really, thank you very much. And, for everybody watching this, after the fact. So thank you for being with us today.
Awesome. All right, Angel. Con la corona. That's a halo. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll see you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.